I'm currently recording this video in my underwear. That's pretty irrelevant to what I'm talking about, but I knew you guys were dying to hear that information. I know in my last video I gave you guys an update on my streaming setup, but I need to give you guys another really small. I'm not gonna take up the whole video with it, just small information. And it's probably the best information yet about my setup. If it wasn't this big of a deal, I wouldn't have mentioned it in this video. But guys, my setup is gonna be here tomorrow. Quite honestly, I was losing hope and I was thinking that the shipping wasn't even going to get here by the time that the blackout beta is around. But no, my setup is gonna be here tomorrow. I got a call from Cyberpower and they told me that I was gonna be here on Thursday in between 9 and 5 o'clock, which is holy fucking shit. That shipping was fast as fuck. That was like 2 to 3 days. It took them a long time to put my PC together and test it, but they totally made up for it with the shipping time, so good on Cyberpower. And as a result of this, I'm gonna be recording an unboxing video and that's gonna be going up on Friday. And when it comes to streaming and all that other stuff, I'll have more information in that video, so just keep a lookout for that. But anyway, on to the main topic of this video, and I can't fucking believe I'm actually talking about this in a video. I annoy my friends on how much I talk about this topic, but now I'm just gonna have to annoy my subscriber base as well. In my last video when I was talking about my setup, I mentioned how I like to put my money towards things that are important, such as investments. Because I'm pretty young, and quite honestly, my biggest dream is just having the freedom to be able to do whatever the fuck I want while still making money and not having to work a normal job. And as much as I say it's a dream, it's not as much of a dream as it is a goal. Because I know for a fact one day I'm gonna be able to do that. I know I'm gonna be able to make money without having to actually work. And by work, I mean go and do something that I don't necessarily enjoy. In that video, I also mentioned how I technically consider my streaming setup to be an investment. Indirectly speaking anyway, because when you're thinking investing, you're normally thinking about the stock markets, bonds, real estate. But the reason I consider it an investment is because I put the money up front, and what I'm buying with this setup could lead me to make a lot of money in the future. You know, through streaming and YouTube and all that stuff. In my last video, I did mention that I like to invest my money in the stock market, but I didn't really go into detail because I really didn't think you guys would be interested in hearing me talk about investing in the stock market and how to make money in it. So that's why I restrained myself from going into detail, because I didn't want to make the video like 10 minutes long and talk about something that you guys weren't into. But lo and behold, I very briefly mentioned it in my last video and people seemed to be quite interested about it. They were actually asking me to talk about it more in a video. Some of you guys commented on my last video asking me to talk more about investing in stocks and the stock market and such. So I guess that's what this video is about, and holy shit, I could probably go on talking about this for like half an hour about the big details and like the small little things that I don't necessarily talk about too often, but I'm gonna keep this video quite brief. I'm still gonna go into detail of some important things, the very important things actually, but when it comes to the smaller details, I would advise that you do your own research. Also, before I get into the details and give you guys advice on how to invest and stuff like that, I just really quickly need to mention that I'm not a financial advisor whatsoever. I have no experience doing that. If you want to actually invest your money, I would highly recommend you talk to a professional in your area so that you know all the laws and regulations and such. I'm not telling you to invest. I'm not telling you what to do with your own money. That is your decision, and if you lose money, it is not my fault. But anyway, disclaimer aside, let's get straight into it. First, I'm gonna let you guys know how I got into investing in the first place. When I first started getting into investing was last December, and my first ever investment was actually in cryptocurrency. Now, before I keep going, I just want to really quickly tell you guys that investing in cryptocurrency off the bat is a pretty risky investment, and as a result is a pretty bad investment. I'm trying to explain this to you guys as simply as possible. I'm trying to go about as if you've never even heard of investing in your life. And if that's the case, let me at least explain to you guys what investing is in the first place. The idea of investing and what investing actually is when you take your money and you buy something that can make you more money over time. There are two types of things that you can spend your money on. You can invest your money on assets, or you can spend your money on liabilities. The difference between an asset and a liability is that a liability is something that doesn't make you money whatsoever. Say for example, if you buy a video game with the strict intent of just playing it, that is a liability. That is something that is not creating you money. You are just buying it so you can enjoy it. An asset is anything that you buy with the strict intention of making money off of it. So for example, the stock market, government issued bonds, and real estate. Those are the three main assets that you can put your money towards. The most popular ones, so to say. When you invest your money in the stock market, you're buying shares of specific companies. Say for example, Apple. You can buy shares of that company. When you buy a share of a company, it's sold to you at a certain price, and over time, if that company becomes more successful, the share price that you bought is actually going to go up in value. And then once you end up selling that share, the difference in price from when you bought it and from when you sold it is referred to as your profit, and that's the money that you actually get to put in your pocket. Towards late 2017, one share of Apple stock was going for $175. Today, it goes for $225. Apple was a company that I very much wanted to invest in, but to invest in Apple, you actually have to be a US citizen, which I am am not. So I invest in other things. I invest in Irish companies because I'm actually from Ireland. You will have access to certain companies depending on where you're from. If you're from the UK, look into different companies that you can invest in the UK. If you're from the US, it's pretty simple for you because there's loads of apps on the App Store that allow you to invest in US companies such as Apple or Microsoft or even Coca-Cola. Because I'm in Ireland, I don't have access to any sort of investment apps. So for me, if I want to invest, I have to go to a physical stockbroker to do so. When you go to a stockbroker, they set you up with an account and then you can do all of your investing online. But that's just the case for me. If you want to invest yourself and you don't exactly know how to, the two ways I would advise is you either look for an app, and if you can't find an available app to invest in companies that you want to invest in, then actually go to Google and search stockbrokers and see if there's any in your area. And then pay a visit to them, tell them that you're new to this and that you want to get started on investing, and they'll probably guide you through it. But anyway, back onto the stock market. The idea is that you buy something for a cheap price and then you sell it at a higher price in the future so that you can actually make a profit off of it. The more money you put into it, the more money you can make. If you buy a share of Apple stock at $175 and then sell it at $225, you're gonna make $50 profit. However, if you buy 10 shares of Apple at $175 and then you sell all of them, congratulations, you just made $500. Minus your commission fees as well, because whenever you buy through a company or through a stockbroker, they're gonna take a tiny amount of that. For example, my stockbroker, they take a 0.5% commission rate. So if I buy $100 worth of stock, they're gonna take 50 cents of that, which overall isn't that much. When you're investing in the stock market, I'm not talking about trading. The difference between investing and trading is that when you're investing in a company, you're hoping to hold on to that share of the company for a long time so that you can make a big profit in the future when you decide to sell. I'm talking about holding on to a company for at least a year, and that might sound like a long time, but the idea is you buy it and then you forget about it and then you come back to it one day, and when you decide to sell, there's more money there. By the way, when you own shares of a company, you don't have to do any work whatsoever, and you also technically become an owner of the company as well. If I bought just one share of Apple stock, I technically am now an owner of Apple. You don't get to run any of the shots or tell Apple what to do because, of course, if you want to do that, you're gonna have to buy a high percentage of the company. If you want to have an impact and tell them what to do, you're gonna have to buy like 10% of the company or some shit like that, which goes for literally billions of dollars when it comes to Apple. Now, when it comes to buying stocks of a company, it's not necessarily what you buy, but when you buy them. You can buy shares of the most profitable company in the world, but if you buy in right before an economic crisis, the value of your stock that you bought is gonna go down as well. The stock market is widely considered to be the riskiest investment that you can make, and a lot of successful investors recommend that you don't make investments that are very, very risky. Yes, they give you high risk, high reward, but it's way better to go for low risk, low reward and just be happy with the small amounts that you make, because over time, that will snowball into making you a lot of money with a very, very low chance of you actually losing your money. When you invest in shares of a company and just simply hope that the value of your shares go up, that is an investment based on speculation. That's the reason I no longer invest in cryptocurrencies. When I started investing in cryptocurrencies, I thought it was fucking great, and I actually made money off of it as well. I made money from cryptocurrencies, but over time, with the more knowledge that I gathered and stuff like that, I realized that cryptocurrency is a very, very risky investment because it's simply based off of supply and demand, and that's not really what I want to go for. That's a very speculative investment because anytime when I buy a share of cryptocurrencies, it could just simply go down the next day, or it could go up the next day as well, and I could make money, but I could also lose money, and so that's not an investment that I want to make. I recently got out of cryptocurrencies. I decided to just sell all of my assets and leave cryptocurrencies in the past. I no longer want to invest in that because it's very risky. So now I prefer investing in the stock market, but earlier on in the video I said that the stock market is a speculative investment, so why would I invest my money in the stock market? And this is where I get to my favorite part of investing. When it comes to the stock market, there are specific companies that pay out what's called a dividend. What a dividend is a small amount of money that the company that you invested in will pay you just for simply owning stock of their company. Apple, a company that I referenced to before in this video, do actually pay a dividend. The reason this is considered a much more safe investment is not because the company can only go up in value, but because they literally pay you a fixed amount for every single share of stock that you own. When you invest your money in the stock market and simply hope that the value of your stock goes up, you are not guaranteed to make money. But when you invest in stocks that pay a dividend, you have a guaranteed chance of making money. Instead of buying something that gives you a chance of making money, you are buying something that guarantees you will make money. I'm gonna give you guys an example of a stock that I'm very much into. You guys probably won't have access to this company because it is an Irish company. There is a company that I'm very interested in investing investing in called Irish Residential Properties. And the reason I like this company so much is because not only are they a real estate company, which by the way, real estate is probably the best thing you can put your money into, and I'm gonna talk about that later. God, I didn't realize how long this video is going on for. Whatever, we're going all out. Hopefully you guys learned something. Not only do I like this company because it's a real estate company, but they also pay a dividend. I'm gonna refer to Irish Residential Property simply as IRP for the rest of this video because it's just shorter. One share of IRP currently goes for €1.50, and IRP pays a dividend of 3 cents per share that you own. Most companies pay a quarterly dividend, which means that they're going to pay you out this dividend for each share of stock that you own every single 3 months. So the idea is if I buy €150 worth of IRP stock, they will pay me a dividend of €3 every single 3 months. Now, a lot of you guys might be thinking, Jesus, paying €150 and receiving €3 every single 3 months sounds like a very small amount of money, and it sounds like you're losing money. But the thing is, you need to change the way you look at it, because they're not just paying me this €3 every single 3 months. They are paying me that for the rest of my life as long as I hold on to that stock. And also on top of that, the value of the company could go up over time, which means that when I do decide to sell my shares of the company, it's going to be a lot more than when I first invested in it. But personally, the type of investor I am, I don't like to buy companies and then sell them in the next few years. I actually want to buy companies and then hold on to them for pretty much my entire life and just live off of those dividends that they pay me. But let's go back to my main argument. That sounds like a very small amount of money. €3 for every single 3 months, it doesn't sound like a lot, but you're going to be earning that for the rest of your life every single 3 months. And here's the kicker. With that money, with those dividends that you earn, you can buy more shares of stock. So the idea is, think about it like this, and I think you guys know where I'm going at with this right now. You don't have to limit yourself to that €150 that you first put in. You could put €150 and then another €150 and then another €150. If you invest €1,500 every single 3 months, you're going to be earning €30 for not doing anything. For the rest of your life, you're going to be earning that. Now, here is the most powerful thing about that. This is where we get into the good stuff. Let's talk about compound interest. What compound interest is when instead of taking the money and spending it on something like, I don't know, a new car or a liability, basically. I explained earlier in the video, a liability is something that does not make you money. Instead of taking the profit that you made or the dividends that were paid out by the company, instead of buying a liability, you buy more assets. So the idea is, I'm gonna get €3 every single 3 months for each €150 that I invest. Instead of taking that €3 and buying, I don't know, something stupid like a chicken fillet roll, you take that money and then you reinvest it into the company. And this is where it starts to turn into an endless cycle of making more money. You invest your money and start receiving dividends, right? You take the dividends and then you invest them into the company. And now because you've put more money into the company, you're going to be making more dividends. And the next dividend payment you earn, you take that and then you put it back into the company again. And now you have more money in the company, which means you're going to be making more dividends. And then you take those dividends and put it back into the company. And then it's just this endless cycle of having more money, putting it back into the company, making more money from the company, putting it back into the company, and it's like a snowball. That's the best comparison I can make. It's like a snowball. It starts off small and it's not picking up that much snow, but the bigger that snowball becomes, the more it's going to gather, the more snow it's going to attach onto. So €3 might not sound like a lot, but when you put it back into the company, now all of a sudden you're making more money. So next time you get paid, you're not making €3, you're making €3.06. And then that €3.06 that you put back into the company, that €3.06 turns into €3.15, and then eventually it's going to turn to €4, and then to €10, and then to €20, and then to €50, and then €100, and then €500, and it just gets faster and faster and faster. And then eventually you'll get to the point where you don't need to work a job to make money anymore. You can simply just reinvest your money over and over and over again. And then once you get to the point where you're making a lot of money, you can reinvest a specific percentage. You can maybe reinvest 50% of your dividend payments and then spend 50% of your dividend payments. Let's say you get to the point where you're making $10,000 every single 3 months off of dividends. You can pay your rent with $6,000 and then you'll have $4,000 to reinvest again. And this is the reason that the rich get richer and the poor stay where they are. Because rich people have enough money working for them. The idea is that you take this money that you're making and you put it to work and it makes you richer bigger over time. So very quickly you see how the small amount of money that you invested becomes very, very powerful with the more time that you put back into the company. And the best part about it, you didn't have to work for this money one bit. Yes, you can make hundreds of thousands of dollars every single year without lifting a finger. That's why a lot of rich people, they don't do anything. They don't work normal jobs because they invest their money. And when you invest your money effectively, that is when you get to the point where you start making the big bucks. That is when you start becoming a millionaire, or hell, if you're super successful, you could become a billionaire. Now, one piece of advice I can give you is that if you're investing in a company, don't invest in just one company. Try and spread out your investments as much as possible. Buy a huge range of different companies in different areas. You know, maybe invest in Apple, but then invest in like Coca-Cola, or then invest in real estate. Try and invest in a bunch of different types of things. Because if you put all your eggs in one basket in one company and that company goes bankrupt, well then shit, you just lost all of your money. If you're an owner of 100 companies and 1 or 2 of them goes bankrupt, you only lost 2% of your money. That's the whole idea of spreading out your investments and not putting all your eggs in one basket. Overall, when it comes to investing in the stock market, I recommend you stay away from companies that don't pay a dividend, because not all companies do pay a dividend. And if you're investing in a company that doesn't pay a dividend, you're investing based on speculation, and I would highly advise you don't do that. Also, to add to the topic of dividends, when you buy shares of a certain company, they pay out a certain percentage of their stock price as a dividend. But if the value of your stock goes up in the next few years, your dividend payment is going to go up as well. So you're not going to be earning €3 every single 3 months. In the next few years, that €3 could go up to €5 or €6. But the initial amount that you invested at the start is still going to stay the same. So in fact, you're going to be making your money back a lot quicker than you think. Of course, that depends what company you're investing in, because not all companies are going to stay successful. Some of them may go bad over time. But that's when you need to do your own research. That's when you need to value a company based off of your own impression. Another big investment you can put your money into are bonds, but I don't know much about bonds. I've never ever researched bonds, so if you want to know more about that, you have to do your own research. The last type of investment I want to talk about, and it's probably the best investment you can put your money into, is real estate. Real estate is a physical property that you buy, like a house, for example. But you're not buying the house so you can live in it. You're buying the house so that you can lease it out to tenants, so that other people can live in it, and then you're going to receive pay in rent. Say, for example, if you buy a house for $100,000, and then the rent of that house is $2,000 every single month. You buy a house once for $100,000, and then every single month the rent is going to be $2,000. So for the rest of your life, every single month, you are going to get paid $2,000 in rent from the people who are living there. The reason this is such a good investment is because it's sort of similar to a dividend in the sense that you have a guaranteed form of income. And also, real estate is amazing because the majority of the time with real estate, the value of your house is going to go up because other things are going to be built in that area. The value of your property can very easily go up over time, which means that that initial $100,000 that you invested in that property, you could sell that off for $200,000, which essentially is doubling your money. And that's not even taking into account the rent payments that you are earning this entire time. The majority of very, very successful investors recommend you invest your money in real estate because it's probably the best thing you can put your money into. But I understand that not everybody can do that, because to get into real estate, it takes a lot of money. Not everybody can just go out and buy a house for 100 grand. That's why you start off with the stock market and build up those dividend payments, so that eventually you'll be making so much money off of dividends that you can take that money and buy a house and rent it out to people. And now you have the stock market making you money, and now you have real estate making you money, and that's when you start getting very, very rich. That's pretty much all I have to say when it comes to investing. There's probably a few details that I left out, but I'm sure you guys can research that for yourself. That's pretty much the extent of my knowledge when it comes to investing. And really quickly, I want to mention that I don't want to seem like I'm trying to come off as very, very smart to you guys, because when I talk about this stuff to other people, a lot of people say that I'm smart, and that for someone from my age, it seems really crazy that I'm so into this type of stuff already. I'm not trying to come off as smart. In fact, I have a lot of learning to do. I'm very young. There is so much more with investing, with stocks, with real estate that I can learn. Maybe in the future, I'll make another video on investing and update you guys on what I've learned. I'm not trying to come off as this very, very intelligent person. I just think it was a very good idea for me to get into this stuff because I want to be rich one day. Of course, money isn't the most important thing in the world. Happiness is the most important thing in the world. But money is definitely one of the most important things in the world. The reason I became so heavily invested in investing is because The idea of being able to go on a holiday and explore the world while still making money, not having to attend to a job, sounded so appealing to me. Like, imagine if you're making money literally doing nothing. You have the freedom to do whatever you want every single day. If I wanted to sit here and play video games for the rest of my life, I could do that knowing that I still have some sort of income that will pay for my bills. You cannot rely on your job for the rest of your life. If you're working a job and you get fired, what the fuck are you going to do? How are you going to pay your bills? How are you going to put food in your stomach? That is why investing is so important, because you're not only working a job and creating income through that, but you have other things making you money as well, and you don't have to actually put any sort of time and effort into them, except when you're actually researching these things. But anyway, that's pretty much all I had to say. This video is super fucking long, and I'm sorry if I just bogged you guys with so many details, but I'm hoping that one of you guys heard me out and started taking interest in this. This video is not enough information for you to just go out and start investing. I would highly recommend you do your own research, and the way to start is simply just go to Google and type how to start investing. And if you're confused as to what Google is telling you, just Google what they're talking about. If, say for example, you came across dividends and you didn't know what dividends are, go to Google and search up what are dividends. You have to do your own research. Me explaining it to you in this video doesn't do it justice. And also, the best way to learn is to actually do something. If you want to learn how to invest, go out and invest. You might lose money at first. That's how I learned that cryptocurrencies were a very bad investment, because I did end up losing money at some point, and I was like, you know what, this isn't a good idea. If you actually go out and invest your money and you lose your money, you will learn from that mistake and you won't make it again. The best way to learn something is to actually do something. You cannot watch someone play basketball and suddenly be good at basketball. You have to actually play yourself, and then you'll become better. Just take this video as sort of a starting guide. I'm about to wrap this video up, but before I do that, I have two things to mention. If you want more information on how to invest and how to be financially successful, I would highly recommend the YouTube channel Minority Mindset. They did not ask me to promote their channel, but I've been watching Minority Mindset for a very long time now, and I have learned so much through their YouTube channel. I will have a link in the description. It's very entertaining to watch, and they explain a lot of stuff on how to become financially successful and why it's so important to invest. If you're not a fan of reading or researching on the internet and you like watching videos, you like having someone explain something to you like I did in this video, check out the link in the description. Check out their channel. You will not regret it. It might be one of the most valuable pieces of information that you learn from them ever. And the last thing I want to mention is that if you really want to go in depth with this and you want to know the ins and outs of investing on how to do it, I know a lot of people aren't going to do this, and me myself, I don't like books whatsoever. I find them so boring. But you really should pick up this book. It's The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham, and it has a quote by Warren Buffett on the very top of the book. It says, by far the best book on investing ever written. If you don't know who Warren Buffett is, I think he's the second most successful investor of all time, and Benjamin Graham, who is the person who wrote this book, is actually the most successful investor of all time. Trust me, I hate reading as well. I don't like doing it, but this is one book that you should definitely pick up. It's not that expensive. It's only $20 to $30 on Amazon. I am not paid to advertise this in any way. $20 to $30 pales in comparison to how much value you're going to get from this. You are going to learn so many things from this book, and it's seriously going to help you. Like, spending $20 to $30 on this book has the potential to make you billions of dollars in the future, and the time that you're investing in it, it's so worth it. So definitely I recommend picking this book up, reading it, stick with it. I haven't finished it yet. I'm only about halfway through this book, and I picked it up a few months ago. I'm a very slow reader, and I don't like reading, but this is definitely something you should pick up. But anyway, fucking hell, that was a very long video. That is the longest video I have put out in a long time. I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to upload this tonight. I hope to God I can. I know this was a lot of information to take, but guys, trust me, it's not that difficult when you actually get into it. Once you have the knowledge to back up what you're actually going to do in the stock market and in real estate, once you know what to do, that's when things start to become more simple, and that's when you start making money. I know this might seem very overwhelming to someone who just started, but trust me, you might struggle for the first few months, but you'll get the hang of it eventually. But yeah, that pretty much wraps it up. I'm gonna end this long ass video here. So yeah guys, that's pretty much the end of the video. If you guys enjoyed, make sure you smack the like button. If you want to stay up to date with my content, please be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification so you're notified when my videos go up. I'll have my last one in the corner. If you haven't checked that out already, definitely make sure to check it out. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.